And I want to thank Honorable Joe, who has graciously and generously made himself available to come to our meetings anytime he's called upon. He is not just a lawyer, he is ideologically inclined to what he is doing for us. So even though he is not available for highest bidding. So that said, let me quickly share my screen before I hand over the mic to him. So on this screen, we have had very high level discussions with people close to the White House, and we've gotten strategic advice based on the information we have provided. So on this screen here, there are two keywords: morality and the economic aspects of Biafra independence. So when you hear that people are being kidnapped for ransom and that people are being killed that warranted our desire for self-defense, all those fall under morality. When you hear about that someone in Enugu State went to bank to borrow money to cultivate crops, and then Nigeria government sends cattle to gobble up his farm, that falls under morality. When you talk about marginalization, that falls under morality. When you hear that Nigeria was at some point the only country in the world that doesn't teach history in its curriculum, and suddenly they come back with a history that doesn't include the biggest and most important group in the country, that falls under morality. Now, one of our attorneys said being right only wins the case, only about 30%. So the remaining 70% is all those things you do to make sure that justice falls where it belongs. So that we are being killed, we are being marginalized, that we are suffering all kinds of dehumanization doesn't quite guarantee your freedom. But in our case, the economic aspect of our struggle for independence also is in our favor. So, Honorable Joe will be covering the legal and international politics involved in our struggle for independence. There are two other important players in the strategy that are yet not activated. We have activated legal, and you can see Honorable Joe right there. We have not activated government relations. It's work in progress. We have not activated a strategist that is advising us. It's work in progress. And Biafrans, I can tell you that there is a lot we have achieved in the last few weeks and months, including how we can repackage our self-defense to be in agreement with the US policies. These things will be coming out as we engage these people that will be working with Joe. And again, Honorable Joe, I want to, on behalf of our leader, Mazen Nandikano, our Prime Minister, Epa Simon and Joko, and Biafrans all over the world, to thank you once more and welcome you to this event. And now I hand over the mic so that you can say something. Thank you very much. I hit my mic.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bryson and Emmanuel. And it's an honor to be with all of you this morning. For my second time, it looks like from the agenda that I have a half an hour, and I'm going to reserve time for questions. When I used to teach constitutional law at Georgetown, I told my students that I judge my presentations not so much by what I say, although I'll try to say something that's helpful and encouraging, but I judge my statements by the difficulty of the questions that come from my audience. So be thinking of the most difficult questions you can ask me. So Emmanuel started his introduction by mentioning the grace of God. And on a personal level, I have made 2 trips recently, one to the Republic of Srpska in Europe, which is struggling for its own independence in the face of Muslim aggression, and a second trip to California last week. And during both trips, I met Biafran Catholic priests by accident. I don't think it was totally accidental because I believe in the grace of God. And I live by what the Jesuits taught me as the Augustinian maxim. St. Augustine said that in everything we do, we should act as if success depends upon our human ability, and at the same time pray as if it all depends upon the grace of God. And in my own family, I have 8 children and 24 grandchildren. I tell my children and my friends that all things are possible by the grace of God and a few Marines. And if you think about this, this is my own personalized version of St. Augustine's maxim. We have to work as if everything depends upon the grace of God. Work as if it all depends upon our human abilities, and pray as if it all depends upon the grace of God. Now, Dr. Bryson mentioned a number of very important issues in the category of morality and Biafran independence. I would like to suggest for my talk this morning, I would like to suggest that we think about these morality issues and Biafran independence and all of the challenges that face us. We think about them within the prism of what the British author C.S. Lewis called the principle of first and second things. And what C.S. Lewis teaches us, which actually is not his original idea, it goes back to Plato in the year 262 BC. Both Plato and C.S. Lewis described 2 categories of good things. The first category, both Plato and C.S. Lewis called first things. Actually, Plato called them divine human things. C.S. Lewis is the one who calls them first things. And the second category, Plato calls merely human things. And C.S. Lewis calls the second category of good things second things. And the principle is that if we as humans are only focusing on these merely human things, classic examples of which are money and survival, in the end, we do not achieve these good things. And in the process, we lose our first things. And first things are principles that really define who we are. They are literally things for which we would die. And nobody sees anything about money or survival on anybody's tombstones. They simply do not raise to the level of what Plato called divine human things. And I would suggest humbly that for us, for everybody on this call, every Biafran is a first thing. As was mentioned earlier, some Biafrans have died for liberty, died for the effort, but every human being, and in our context today, every Biafran is a first thing. The other first things that I would suggest we can focus on fall in the category of legal issues. We in America are firmly committed to our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, which proclaims that certain rights are given to us by our Creator and they are inalienable, which means they don't depend upon a government bestowing them on us. We have them by virtue of being creatures of Almighty God. And for us, first things include the due process of law, the right to what the European Charter of Fundamental Rights recognizes as a fair and public hearing within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial tribunal previously established by law. And I quote this European Charter
Recording in progress.
Fundamental Human Rights or Fundamental Rights, because I think in the case of Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, based on what I understand, I don't believe that the Prime Minister was given a fundamental right to due process in his trial in Finland. And I'm committed to doing what I can to support the efforts of his Finnish attorneys. And I've spoken with Tommy Heinonen, and I've spoken with the Prime Minister. And I hope that my legal expertise, my experience, can help the Finnish team obtain freedom for the Prime Minister. And I hope that by the grace of God, my talents combined with the talents of the other people that are supporting the Prime Minister can achieve success. And I will conclude my comments with what I have said in my first meeting, the admonition of then Pope John Paul II, now we call Saint John Paul the Great, who 25 years ago told the Ukrainian people, after the yoke of communism had been lifted off of their backs, he offered 3 suggestions for how we move forward. He said, first, align yourself with like-minded individuals. Second, always try to work within the system if you can. And third, never give up hope because you are a soldier of Christ. And with that, I'm going to conclude my comments and invite whatever questions you may have for me.
So, Biafrans, please, if you have a question for Honorable Joe, you can raise up your hand. And remember, the question has to stay within the legal field. Thank you very much.
Remember, I don't want to leave this meeting feeling like a failure if I don't get some difficult questions.
You will get them. You get
We'll
some.
get them. Don't think I promise you.
Honorable Joe wants the most difficult legal questions to be asked to
Honorable,
asked to him.
yes, Honorable Abi, somebody raised his hand already. I think
Yes.
Dr. Vincent.
Honorable Vincent, you can unmute yourself, please.
I am Dr. Vincent, and my question is this. As you go ahead representing us, because we have high hope in what you can achieve, going by your track record of success. Like our leader here, Boyema said, we are very hopeful that meeting you will grant us everything we are looking for. My question is this. We have our supreme leader, we call him our supreme leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, in detention. They call it life imprisonment. He is facing the same thing our PM, Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, is facing in Finland. Are you aware of everything going on? Because that awareness will avail you a lot of information to knock this case out.
My answer, Vincent, is that I am learning, and I know from my own personal experience that in order to understand the law, you have to first know the facts. So in order for me to give the best, the most effective legal advice, I have to know the facts, and I'm still learning the facts. I literally yesterday texted with the Prime Minister's Finnish attorney questions about the facts, questions about what evidence was prepared by the Biafran Republic government in exile about atrocities that have occurred to Christians in Nigeria, and why wasn't some of that evidence presented to the court in Finland? So these are factual questions that I need to know in order to formulate a legal strategy so that I can apply my expertise to help the Finnish lawyers obtain the liberty of the Prime Minister. And I know some of these facts. Chioma and Dr. Bryson have shared some facts with me, but I need to get some more facts from the Finnish attorney for me to be able to finish a letter I've already started to the foreign minister of Finland that expresses my expert legal concerns about why the prime minister is in prison. I hope that answers your question, Vincent.
Thank you so much. That's what I want to hear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let me just make a quick comment with respect to the question and the answer. Of course, Honorable Joe, we are excited that within this short time you've already shown exceptional depth of understanding of the matters. But for to address the question from a different angle, Dr. Vincent, his immediate priority is PM, and we believe that PM's sentence has a direct relationship with Oyendu's sentence in the zoo. Once the PM situation is resolved, it will also affect Oyendu's situation in Nigeria. So we are moving ahead strategically, and the more we interact with him, the more he gets to other details that are necessary for him to uh, render the best service for Biafra people. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
will call on Mazi Ekwensu. You can unmute yourself, please.
Good morning, Biafrans. Good morning, all cabinet members. Good morning, Honorable Joe. Yeah, my questions. During the course of your, because listening to what you said earlier, you said that after you did your own little investigation, you came to find out that the Prime Minister of the Biafran people wasn't adequately represented. So during your conversation with the lawyers in Finland, and when you expressed this concern to them, did they come to terms with you that the Prime Minister did not get the right representation, and also moving forward, are they very much opening to making sure that they do everything possible in accordance with the law to provide, that's together with them partnering with you, like are they willing and ready to make sure that they give the Prime Minister the best representation to ensure that he is freed from where he is? Thank you.
This is Mazi, right? Mazi
Ekwensu.
Ekwensu. Yeah,
Ekwensu.
that's an excellent question. The Finnish attorney with whom I am working right now, his name is Tommy Heinonen, and he told me yesterday that the reason why some of the evidence wasn't presented, it has to do with the prior legal representative or the prior legal counsel for the Prime Minister. So I don't know what's behind that suggestion just yesterday, but I will find out. But the fact that Tommy is telling me that the reason it has to do with prior lawyering for the Prime Minister suggests that in the past, perhaps the Prime Minister didn't receive the best representation. But I do get the sense from Tommy, and I've spoken to him on the phone and I've gone back and forth with him. I get the sense that he is firmly committed and he is willing and ready to give his full attention as his zealous advocacy to representing the Prime Minister now with my help. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, wonderful.
so
Thank you
much,
very much.
Honorable Joe.
Yes,
Thank you.
I think so.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Next in line, I will call Homeland Media. You can unmute yourself, please.
Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Joseph and everybody in the house. I am Mazi Ifani, the head of Homeland Media. Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release. And at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next in line is Honorable Nenna. You can unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
Barrister Joseph. Good morning. Our chair and everybody there. This is about 9 a.m. here. Now, I have two questions for Honorable Joe. My first question is this. Most of us doesn't know you, most Biafrans. Is it possible for you to sort of give us a short introduction and your antecedent in the past regarding issues like ours? And that will give us a bit of relief to make sure that we are on the same page. And my number two question is, in the Bible, when Joseph wanted to bless his children, somebody marks himself up in the name of Joseph and wore the dress, a sheepskin. But the father said, the voice I'm hearing is the voice of Jacob, and the body is that of Esau. We are having this understanding or belief that EU has a hand in what is happening to our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa. Do you in any way have understanding if there is interventions or whatever coming from EU against our Prime Minister? Because we are looking at the bigger picture. We just want to know if you are aware. And if yes, what are your legal activities to stop it or ameliorate it? Thank you.
Thank you, Nena. When you say EU, do you mean the European Union?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was thinking because you were talking from a biblical perspective and the anointing of Jacob, and then you shifted to EU, and I wasn't quite sure whether EU was a biblical reference or it was a reference to the European Union.
Yeah, that reference was, we might be thinking that this is Finland issue.
Yeah.
It might be, yeah, but the voice might be that from EU. So
Yeah.
two people doing things, and we are looking at the one person. Because I believe that Britain, Sweden, and all of them, they might be doing something on the ground that we don't know to ensure that our prime minister is in trouble. So are
Honorable
you aware
Nenna,
if such thing is happening or not?
Honorable Nenna, please let me just stop. Let me just stop you there, please. First of all, Honorable Nenna, I think we have to go back to the introduction. Honorable Joe did an extensive introduction, and he has already told us that he is still learning our case, and he cannot really give you an answer for this very question. He has to understand our case, understand what is happening with our prime minister before he is able to answer the question. Otherwise, it would just be pure speculation. Thank you very much. And please, Honorable Bobby, the last hand is going to be Madam Nki, please. Thank you very much. Honorable Nena, thank you for your answer.
Just, sorry, Honorable Joe, just before you, if you want to say anything to that question, it's up to you. Otherwise, Honorable Nena, as a matter of fact, Briggy has a position statement that is pasted on our website that is saying that EU, UK, they are supporting or sponsoring genocide in Nigeria by what they are doing or what they are not doing. These details are part of the information that being provided to the council. He will use them to the best way possible. So he is not to be made to make certain pronouncements on this platform, but he will have Briggy position statements, and based on what he is seeing, he can take it to any direction that he wants to. But the other point I have to make is that with Joe, he is able to pull U.S. influence into this matter, and that would on its own counter whatever Nigeria, EU, and UK is doing to Finland, that is making them bend backwards to do what they are doing. Joe stated that our PM is a political dissident. He's not a terrorist. Fighting for your people who is facing existential threat shouldn't be a crime. Now, as I opined earlier, being right is only 30%. You're being right will only get you justice about 30% of the time. The rest of the time, 70% is all the maneuvering that happened, and such maneuvering like Finland being susceptible to influence from UK, EU, Nigeria can thwart justice, the cause of justice. So we are hoping that US getting involved in the matter can at least neutralize some of those negative influence from EU, UK, and Nigeria. So with that said, Honorable Joe, it's left for you to say whatever you feel comfortable saying. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just address the first question from Honorable Nina. It's public record that I have, over the last 10 years, supported Christians in the Nineveh plains of Iraq that were subject to genocide and being attacked by ISIS and needed to protect themselves. I've also supported Christians in Syria that were subject to genocide by Muslim jihadis. And I am currently, as I mentioned earlier, I was in the Republic of Srpska last month. I'm also helping the Christians in the Republic of Srpska deal with not necessarily genocide, but persecution by Europeans, by an office that was set up by Europeans that seems to be bent on promoting Muslim jihadis at the expense of Christians. So I share this with you because you asked me to let you know if I've been involved in issues like yours. And the answer is yes. And with regard to your biblical reference, I will maybe conclude my remarks by telling you something that's not public, but I was very honored last week in California to be anointed with holy oil by a Biafran Catholic priest when I told him what my mission was. So I hope that's comforting.
Thank you so much. It
Thank
is.
you.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. The next person is the Just. Please, can we be brief and fast with our questions? Thank you. The Just, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, and Honorable Joe, remember, he is scheduled for 30 minutes, and I think that 30 minutes is over.
I think this might be my last question then, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, please. My name is Aristide. I greet you, Honorable Joe. My question is, with the level of insecurity going on in Nigeria and the amount of killings and violence that is going on in northern Nigeria, I feel that with no time it may spread into Biafra. Now, preparing a self-defense force within the Biafran territory may be perceived
Hold
as
on.
No, don't go there, please.
No, don't go there. Don't go there.
Honorable Joe, please, sorry, this is not
No.
a legal question for you.
No.
This person just wants to talk about insecurity back home, and that's not your question.
And he said this is his last question, so we need to thank
so we
him.
can let him go, please. Yes. Yeah.
I'm open to one more legal question if there is one.
Okay. Go ahead, Honorable. Honorable Irobi, go ahead, please.
No, not Honorable Roby, please.
Let's give opportunity to the others. I stand there.
Adandeji, you can go
and I
ahead,
see
please.
Madam Inki also.
Okay, Madam Inki, go ahead. Only one more question, please.
Adandeji was first before Madam
Adandeji.
Adandeji was first. Adandeji, you can unmute yourself, please.
Okay, greetings, everyone. Good morning, Honorable Joe. Thank you for accepting to do this for us to represent our Prime Minister and Brigade. So my question is a kind related to what Honorable Nena asked you, but I will just cut it off based on what Dr. Brighton said. You know, on the 22nd January 2026, United States and Nigeria held the inaugural session of the Joint Working Group on Security and Religious Freedom in Nigeria. So the key participants from that section was Alison Hooker, under Secretary of State for Political Affairs. So, and he led about eight U.S. federal agencies to this meeting. And so, with my question is, with all this United States delegation in attendance, do you believe there will be obstacles in defending our Prime Minister and Briggy? Thank you.
So first, I'm not personal friends with Undersecretary Hooker. I'm encouraged in one sense that there are 8 U.S. State Department representatives focusing on Nigerian issues. I am heartened that what I hear within this Department of State is that Secretary Rubio is significantly revamping how we do business in our Department of State, because for many years it's been kind of famous or infamous for being sort of an entrenched bureaucracy and not necessarily pursuing the right agendas. So I know some of the other senior leaders at the Department of State, and they're good people. I've met Secretary Rubio as Senator Rubio. He's not a personal friend of mine, but everything I see over the last year, he seems to be doing a great job as our Secretary of State. He's also, as you know, the chairman of the Security Council. So he was inevitably involved one way or another as a leader in what happened on the 2nd of January. And all I can say is that I have seen in the past where our State Department is not helpful on legal issues. I am hopeful that with the leadership we currently have, and with the leadership coming from President Trump, frankly, to come out publicly and say, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to the murder of Christians in Nigeria, and then taking action. I am hopeful that we will not see any obstacles from the Department of State to our efforts legally to obtain the release of the Prime Minister. And to the extent that I have to engage with the Department of State, with the very senior people whom I know, I will. I will not hesitate if I have any sense that our State Department is interfering with my legal efforts. Together with the Finnish team, I will not hesitate to reach out to my friends in the Department of State and to the White House, if needed, to support my legal efforts.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Honorable Joe, please, can I beg for one more question? The last one, this is the last. Please. This person is begging.
Of course.
Bonus question.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Nki, please, you can go with your bonus question. Thank you so much, Honorable Joe.
It's not actually a question. I just want to throw accolades to him, appreciate him for, I know, deciding to help us in our quest to help our Prime Minister, Mr. Simon Ekpa. Yeah, because throughout last year, we were just all cries and tears, you see, and there was no third eye to look into what is going on with him, you see, and we are so depressed with what Finland did, you see. So thank you so much. Try as much as possible to support, and we do appreciate the support you are also rendering in return. So let me not just go into too much narrations about this. But we really appreciate, sir. We appreciate. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are pleased to have you back.
Sister Nki, you are so much welcome and appreciated.
Just for reference, she's food with joy, she's food with emotions, And she's excited, like many Biafrans, having you here, and we are looking forward to what we can do with you. God bless you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Joe. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Honorable Joe, Biafrans are really appreciative people in all dimensions. So I just want, on behalf of all Biafrans, to tell you how grateful we are for what you've done in the past, for what you're doing, and what you will do. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable
God
Joe.
bless you.
Thank you so
God
much.
grant you the wisdom. God grant you the wisdom, the discerning spirit to know what to do, when to do, and how to do. You go. God is with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I guess that's a vote of thanks.
Thank you.
I will take a crack and then I will let others take a crack. Thank you very much, our sister Amaka Baby. I want to say one thing. One, Nigeria is a lawless country. Nigeria is a country that believes in corruption, bribery, and every other thing that is in between. So Bruce Fenn, being unable to access Onyendu in Nigeria, it shouldn't be a surprise to us. After all, Nigeria went to Kenya and kidnapped him. And they even tried Umaru Diko.
Yes, Umaru Kago.
Right? So let us pack Nigeria somewhere. These cannot be compared with what is happening in Finland. Honorable Joe is not licensed to practice in Finland. He cannot litigate PM's case. And he stated it here, it's not just because it's Finland. Even in the United States, before you can practice law, you must have a license. If you live in Florida and your license is a Florida license, for you to go to any of the Carolinas to practice, you must also obtain Carolina license, right? You cannot use license within the states. You cannot use license from one state and practice in the other state. If you want to do that, you got to go to that state to obtain the license. That's the way it is. Joe is an international attorney. He was not hired to litigate the criminal case against PM. He was hired to tackle the influence of Nigeria, EU, and where UK. With his international portfolio, he can do that. He is doing that already. He met with the PM. You heard him when he said that. What can I do for you? He only said what he could say publicly. There are others that he couldn't say publicly. And the PM told him, it's not for you to come and stand in court to defend me, no, but for you to work with my attorney to figure out what we have to do, what went wrong. One of the things that went wrong, he said, was the appeal attorney told him that the trial attorney failed to present all the evidence. We already know that. And now this is what? Real. It is evidence against whatever process that happened in the past. And you cannot get an attorney that is in Finland leveling such. You need influence from outside, and an influence from such an attorney as Joseph Schmitz. That's what he is hired for. He is hired to be the international eye that would say, absolutely not, you cannot do this. Now, if you are talking Nigeria, if he tells Nigeria, Nigeria may say, forget it. But not with Joe. That is, it's really important to say that Joe is not Bruce Fenn. They are not even in the same category. I am sorry, Bruce Fenn, but they are not in the same category. So, Joe is Joe. Bruce Fenn is Bruce Fenn. Where Joe enters, Bruce Fenn cannot enter. There's also this issue of integrity and principle. So even with Nigeria, Nigeria is going to bow for Joe. But when the time comes, after all, Nigeria is bowing for Trump. Did Joe Biden do anything? So we cannot compare apples and oranges. Joe has his own job. It is really important for us to understand that the Prime Minister committed no crime. However, he was charged with terrorism-related offenses. If anyone is telling you, no, he was not charged for that, that's a lie. We have his charges. If anyone is telling you something you pay money for, no. Biafra has a tax bill to pay. You don't go to prison for tax bill. You negotiate with the authority, they give you a payment plan, and then you pay the taxes. On record, PM was sentenced for terrorism-related offenses. But PM committed no crime. He is a political dissident. And Finland is holding him because other people that have some bilateral relationship with Finland are asking them to keep the PM, find some bogus law and bogus crime and put it on top of him. That is what, that is the nut that Joe has to crack. After all, ask yourself, why did Briggy bring all the evidence in the trial and the attorney did not present? Didn't even show the PM.
Didn't show it. This time around, it's not going to.
The PM didn't even know about it. He was surprised. After the sentence, he saw all the evidence and he was so angry. Ask yourself, why was that allowed? It is because he is a political dissident. So my sister Maka, I need you to have that faith and know that without Joe, we will have what is called, I think Dr. Bryson called it, legal blind spot.
Legal blind spot, yeah.
Legal blind spot. Because you're going to carry all the evidence. Political dissidents are not freed or imprisoned because they are not imprisoned because they committed a crime. No, the state comes up with a crime and maneuvers the law and maneuvers the defense so that there will be a crime. And they are then charged. And they are not freed because you have a bag full of evidence. They are freed because there's someone who is qualified to say, absolutely not, you cannot do this. And there is no other person more qualified than a former Inspector General of the Department of Defense that can stand up and go wherever he wants to go. And that is ideologically linked with Biafra.
Yes,
very important.
Biafran, but he is ideologically linked with Biafra. You can't you can't say, come, I give you oil well. He will say, hell no, I don't need oil well. I am happy the way I am. I just want freedom. The first thing, remember, he told us about the first thing, and being a Biafran is
the first thing.
first thing.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, well said.
Well
Thank you
answered.
very
Thank
much.
you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
Please, I just want to chip in, Professor Choma. I mean, respect now. I mean, I just love it when you explain everything in my heart. But we must be careful this time around to challenge the Finland government and their foreign ministry. They cannot get away with all these are black monkeys. They will just do like this and do like this. Honorable Joe is there as record keeping. And they're not going to say everything will be in Finnish language, no English translation. They must provide English translation. And they must show the video, whether it is blood or no blood, or they must see the reason why a spokesman is speaking. So he is there to as for Finland to know they cannot do this. What is the Honorable Bryce? They can no longer treat us anyhow. Anything they misbehave there will be brought out later, and this their EU quest to be, I don't know what they want with EU, they will be defeated. So he's there to challenge Finland and their government and their foreign ministry. Thank you.
Well
And
said.
you know that we did not know the reason why the evidence was not seen. Honorable Joe yesterday got that answer.
Good.
We've been asking.
You know, the reason why I brought this up, not like that, I don't have faith in the lawyer. The reason, while I was listening, the reason why I brought it up, because, you know, it's like we have this pattern of lawyers just coming and taking our money and then getting away with it. Because the one that the Elias and the group, Adabiri and whoever, is the PM that brought those ones. And I saw what they are doing now. So that is just why I'm so worried.
Please, Elias is an apprentice. Don't mention him here. Dabiri is an apprentice. Don't mention them here.
I know he's an apprentice, but remember when Priam brought them, he gave us a big hope on them. Just like we are having big hope now. I just want us to be very careful. Because the same hope that we had.
Let me just say something here. We are, okay? When you cast your net, you pray that you catch fish. Yeah. What determines whether you catch fish or not may be outside your control. Now, let me just throw a little more light in the initial trial. The defense attorney we had, we documented all this evidence and made sure. Remember, we had like 3 to 4 trips to Finland to make sure that he understood our story, to make sure that he understood the evidence we compiled, to make sure that he can use them effectively in the defense of our Prime Minister. Of course, the hearing was done in Finland. When I was in court there, I didn't hear what that was being said, but I also know that they didn't show any videos or images. So as it turned out, what we had was they didn't want to watch those images because
gory pictures. Gory.
So, frankly, let me tell you, if we are to get justice, that very convention to be thrown out as mistrial.
Yes.
The fact that we provided evidence in English, and then by the time the Finnish attorney translates it to Finnish, probably a lot of the meaning is lost. And frankly, Finland has no business trying a case of a crime that was committed in Nigeria. Again, PM is a political dissident. We have all argument about how crimes are committed. There has to be a person, there has to be place where the crime was committed, and there has to be time and date. Now, was Finland's involvement in crime committed in Nigeria? I mean, they can rope you into whatever situation they want you to be in because of some interest, some influence, something somewhere that may mean something or not mean anything. But at the end of the day, we want to put up a fight to defend our PM, to bring him out, for them to dismiss that charge, and for him to be a clean person, because whatever happens to him happens to all of us. And there is no way they can criminalize agitation for self preservation. Right now, what we are facing is existential threat. People being caught. Let me tell you, I left Biafra land in August 2020, around when I was 28. I don't remember how many times I saw a dead person. Maybe I had courage to go see a dead person. And now all our streets are littered with, I mean, you don't have to look far to see a dead person, either being head cut off or arms cut. I mean, all these horrible things that are happening is not part of us. It's not how we used to live. And we want to be out. We want to be out.